WWGO in Erie, Pennsylvania. It was like a number 2 rocker. Jet was the big owned station. They owned the market. And I got a call from Jerry Spin. And Spin said, would you like to come in and work at Wixie? Now, I just need somebody to fill in. I can't promise you a job, but I want to hear what you sound like. Can you come in and do the night show? And I said, well, yeah, I would love to. But I'm working here. So I was doing the afternoon drive show, 2 to 7, production till 8. But then for like 4 or 5 months, they were looking for a midday guy. So I did actually 10 to 1 and 1 hour of lunch. So I said, but I can come in and do the all-night show. So I came into Wixie and did the all-night show. Bobby Magic was bumped up to do the early night show. So I did that first show, and then that night Ray Otis took over at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And Ray was very, very nice, but Bobby Magic had somebody to see, some girl to see or something. So Bobby said, well, here's the log, here's the board. No, that's all you got to do. So I didn't know what I was doing. You know, they had these jingles where you talk over in the middle,
right,
where you could do something. But I had no idea. So Bobby leaves. And the next night I did it, Ray Otis was still the morning man. And then Ray Otis the next day, so my third day. Now I'm dead tired now because I'm doing all this radio because they told me in Erie, they said, if you take a job in Cleveland, because he knew I was up for something, he said, I'll fire you. You're out of here.
Don't come back, yeah.
So I didn't want to, I changed my mind. I didn't want to say anything to him anymore. So that third night, Howie Lund was in doing the morning show. And that's when I met Howie Lund, rhyming everything, doing everything, rhyming everything. So I left there, and Ray Otis had left, when he quit, he left a note or something that was really, he was really upset with Norman. He was upset with Norman Wayne. So that was it. So that was my little stay there. And then I wrecked my car, and I called Jerry Spin. I said, I can't come in. I said, but I'll be ready to work for the weekend. He said, forget it. And he screamed and yelled at me on the phone and slammed the phone on me. But I had those tapes from Wixie as I taped the first night.
Okay.
So I took the tapes. Steve Popovich came in. He was working for Mercury Records, local promotion. He came in, and I was doing music at Go Radio in Erie. And I said, took him aside. I said, boy, don't tell anybody. Did you hear me on Wixie? He said, no, I didn't hear you. I said, I was on Wixie. And he said, you know what, Jim Gallant isn't happy at KY. And I think there might be an opening at KY. You ought to call, there's no program director, you ought to call Bob Martin. So Bob Martin was the general manager. So I called Bob Martin, and Martin said, can you come in? And I took a day off from work, came in with my tapes, and I sat with Bob Martin. And Martin played my tape, listened to my tape, and he said, can you do more of this? Do you do more of this, what you're doing? I said, yeah, that's what I do, And he said, okay, and we talked for a good while. And then, like 2 days later, I get a phone call at Go Radio. I just got off the air. And he said, this is NBC in Cleveland, this is Bob Martin, we were going to hire you to work for it. And I said, yeah, and I hung up the phone because there was a guy named Johnny Holiday, not the Johnny Holiday, another Johnny Holiday working at Jet, who I replaced him at Go Radio. And I knew he was doing little shenanigans. So the second time, Bob Martin called me back, look, Jim, you and I talked yesterday. If you hang up on me, I'm not going to call you back. So that was it, and then I was started like 3-4 days later on KY. I got my first paycheck, because now what I was doing was summer replacement, but it was build up. And then they wanted me to do the music, because they lost their music director. So I did that for about a year and a half doing the music. And I was floating around. So I would do the morning show, did the evening show, did all the different shows. And I got the first night on the air, he happened to be with me, Bob Martin, and I said, listen, what a great opportunity for J. Bentley Starr. And he said, J. Bentley Starr, he said, we hired Jim LaBarbara. We didn't hire J. Bentley Starr. You're on NBC. You don't have to be fooling anybody. You're Jimmy LaBarbara. And I was getting ready to go on the air. And I had never I was Jimmy Holiday, I was J. Bentley Starr, but I was never Jim LaBarbara. I was always under these, personas, different personas. So that was a terrifying night for me, going to a new radio station. We were engineered, of course. KY was engineered, had a producer and everything. And that was I had to write my name down so I wouldn't forget my name. But that was interesting. Then one more thing, I got my first paycheck. So I got my paycheck, and I went in to see Bob Martin. I said, Mr. Martin, I think you made a mistake. I said, my paycheck, and I said, here's what I got. And I started to say to him, I want to be paid by the week and not by the month. And he said, Jim, I'm so sorry. He said, yeah, we made a big mistake. And he said, you get $100 a week extra for talent fee, whether you do any talent fee or not. That's your talent base on top of your salary. And I literally started to cry. He said, didn't we ever discuss money? And I said, no. I said, the only thing I said was I got a raise from 80 to 90 at the Go Radio, and I was going to make $100 by the next year. I was going to 100. I said, so that was it. So that was my shock, my big shock, and that was a wonderful experience at KY.
Wonderful.
And then when they fired everybody at KY, everybody but the morning team, Charlie and Harrigan, and I think they knew they were having problems. So we were all gone. Jay Lawrence, Chuck Dan, Jack had left shortly before that. Jack left and went to Boston, and it's kind of crazy because Max Richmond had called me from MEX in Boston, and Max said, "Would you like to come up here and do the early night show in Boston?" MEX, and that's where Charlie Tuna went, because Charlie had passed through town. He had gone up there. Lou Jack was there at one time.
Wow.
So it was a big rock station. So I said, yeah, I'd be very, very interested. He said, well, I'll be calling you back. So he called me. So I called Jerry G, because Jerry had worked with him at the Washington, D.C. station that Max Richmond owned. And he said to me, Jerry G said to me, Jimmy, sell used cars. Don't go to Boston. Do not go to MEX. He said, you'll be out of business. Don't go. So I said, okay. I said, but I would like to really move up here. He said, no, don't go. So he called me back the next day, and he said, I said, what about the plane fare? How do we? Oh, you pay half and I'll pay half. So that was a good tip-off about Boston. I said, but you know what? Jack Armstrong is coming over later tonight with his girlfriend. I said, and he's out of work. I said, oh yeah, that'd be great. So I put him in touch with Jack, and then Jack took the job, and I don't think Jack ever forgot me for that. They never gave me, I apologized to him over and over again, and then Jack left and went to Chum in Toronto and left the country. That's how he got out of that.
Very good.
That's my quick little story.
Thank you. And you're still on the air in Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'm still doing, I do 2 to 7 in the afternoon on WDJO. Right. And we have 2 FM signals and an AM signal, and then we stream on iHeart. So it's fun. We play 50s, 60s, 70s, and a little touch of 80s. So yeah, I've been doing that. And then on Saturday morning, I go on WLW for a half hour with Gary Jeff Walker, and we do four songs, and I tell a little story about it, a little backstory about it. Yeah, so I'm still doing that.
Well, you are the music professor, if there ever was one.
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks so much, Jim. Jim LaBarbara.
Thank you.
Thank you.